What's up, YouTube? Your boy back once again with another sports topic, and today we're going to talk some football. Houston Texans football. Because it's football time in Houston. I don't know if you ever used to see those commercials when they actually be playing that country dude talking at the end. It's football time in Houston. I don't even really know why it's in my head right now. But anyway, let's talk about some football. Let's talk about the transactions that went down yesterday during the trade deadline. I know a lot of people will ask me, hey, we just got Demaryius Thomas. You're not going to make a video, bro? I had some stuff I had to take care of. So I didn't get a chance to do it yesterday. But, hey, we going to do the video right here, right now. We're going to talk about this. We're going to talk about this trade. We might talk about some other NFL trades. So sit back and relax and enjoy some snacks or something. I don't know. Just sit back and relax and chill because your boy about to break some things down. Let's see. Let's get up where the Houston Texans have acquired the wide receiver Demaryius Thomas from Denver Broncos. They trade that, and also they trade that for a 4th round pick, and I think they also swapped sevens, if I'm not mistaken. So, which more than likely the Texans probably have a better record than Denver, anyways. Actually, the Texans actually moved up in the 7th round, if that means anything. But so we're just gonna just take it at face value that we gave up a 4th round pick to bring in a player like Demaryius Thomas. And to be honest, I ain't gonna lie. Like I'll be the first one to admit I was completely wrong. I said on Monday Night on South Sports that we weren't gonna get Demaryius Thomas because I don't see a team trading a player to a team that they're going to play the following Sunday, especially on the offensive side of the ball, because it's not like he's going to know everything that Denver's going to run. Denver does not have enough time in 4 days to completely change their offense without installing a new offense without it still being some kinks and the current Denver players messing up while they're trying to run that offense because it's fresh and new. Now, maybe if this trade happened a month ago or a month before the season or something like that, or if it happened early October, that's enough time for them to install the offense and change up some things. He's going to know all the formations and all the verbiage of everything. So, to be honest, Demaryius Thomas, after every offensive snap, when the defense, hey, you should, Demaryius Thomas should be right there beside the rack, and rack should be looking, hey, Demaryius, what that formation look like? Demaryius tell him what it is. Whoever, I think McKinney gets the calls. Hey, he tell me, hey, McKinney, this, like whatever. Because he's going to know what the formation like the back of his hands. He's been on that team since 2010. He's seen he knows all the players' cadences and tendencies and things like that. So he should know everything about that offense. That's one reason why I didn't think that trade would happen. Also, I didn't see. I mean, all y'all Texan fans, no, we don't make moves like this. This is very uncommon. So on face value, like to be honest, like I said, Demaryius Thomas has drop issues. I'm not really high on Demaryius Thomas, to be honest. But the thing that's most exciting to me about this is the willingness to trade. Make the trade to improve your team. You realize your team needs some help, and you make that willingness to do it. That's something that we have not done before. I've heard questions, do you think Rick Smith would have done this? To be honest, I actually do think Rick Smith would have made this specific move because it's a Denver move. Because, he's always, he made trades to get Clark. I mean, we always had that relationship with Denver. He has ties to Denver. I think he was a scout at Denver. I think he was also something with the secondary in Denver as well. So he cut his chops in Denver. So we always used to make trades. I mean, that's how we got Chris Myers from Denver. Like, we always made Denver type transactions. So just because Demaryius coming from Denver, I could see him making this type of move just because of that, just on face value because of the Denver move. But I have to give props. I have to give credit where credit due. I know I've bashed on Brian Gaines a lot during the offseason. His free agent moves have not panned out yet. The only one, like I said, is Honey Badger. But like I said, I don't really give him credit for the Honey Badger. I give him credit for the contract. Honey Badger, we can't sit up here and act like that Honey Badger deal didn't have nothing to do with Houston being right by New Orleans. Honey Badger even said himself that he lived in Houston for a while because of Hurricane Katrina when he was a kid, and then when he got kicked out of LSU, he was living back in Houston when he was training with George Lucas to get his life back on track. Also, him and JJ are close and also have the same agent. So You can't sit, and then also it had to be attractive playing with Clowney, with JJ, playing with having an offense like Deshaun Watson, Hopkins, and Fuller. Like, you gotta think that all those things had to factor in more so than Brian Gaines give him some type of sales pitch. Now, I give him the contract on him selling them the contract. I give him that, but not really the acquiring or bringing Honey Badger. But for the draft, he's doing a solid job so far. I mean, Justin Reed like a first round pick. Jordan Thomas looks good. We're gonna see about Jordan Akins. My main concern about Jordan Akins is his age. We already know how we feel about Martellus Rankin and things like that. Kiki like he'll be it's a solid pickup. So I give him credit on that, and for him to make this willingness to make this move, to make this trade, speaks volumes. Now, also, it's a different NFL because, you know, NFL has never been this active during trades or trade deals. There's a lot of moves. I mean, Golden Tate going to Philly earlier this year. You know, you had Cooper going to Amari Cooper going to Dallas. You had Dante Fowler going to the Rams. Things like that. Like it was a lot of trades this year, early on this year. And normally the NFL is not a trade organization. It's not a trade league. I mean, we see trades go down all the time in basketball. We've seen trades go always go down in baseball. But we don't really see too many blockbuster trades in the NFL unless on draft day. That's the only time you really see trades, when it's around draft time. But like not mid-season, post-season, or beginning of the season, things like that. You don't see that many moves. I know about the whole not Antonio Brown, but Dwayne Brown. That was a completely different thing. He was a holdout. Then also you had the whole him raising the fist and him and Bob McNair bumping heads, and then Bob McNair's comments come out, and then now you got you just really, and like Dwayne Brown was the most vocal of any Texan. So it was more so trying to get rid of Dwayne Brown, and you're still paying for that because you don't have no protection for Deshaun Watson. But those instances are different. But I think more as newer guys are becoming head coaches and becoming GMs, they start paying attention to other leagues and saying, hey, these moves are out here. Let's do them. Same thing with coaches. That's why coaches go for more on fourth down. That's why coaches go for 2-point conversions more, because they have a new line of thinking. It's not the same in the NFL. And also it's a copycat league. And you see what the Rams do. Rams go out there and trade for Talib, and trade for Peters, and trade for Cook, and Aiden, and still gonna make a trade to get Dante Fowler. Like this is a copycat league. They see the Rams loading up on trades, giving up picks. The Rams are like, fuck a pick. The Rams are acting more like a basketball team than anybody. They like, fuck these picks. Like how the Rockets are trying to send 4 picks to get Jimmy Butler. Like, that's how the Rams are. The Rams like, first round pick, Cook. Second round pick, here. Third round pick, there. Bring me these players. We trying to win a championship right now. We just got to LA. We trying to win that. And they being very aggressive, and I can appreciate that. I can appreciate that. As a fan looking at football, like, man, I see that this team is really going out there doing everything they can to get it. And for the Texans to make a move similar to that, making the move and recognizing that you had a weakness because of the injury to Fuller. I wish they would have made a transaction at the corner position. But I'm actually going to get into that because I think I know why that didn't happen. But you see that Fuller gets hurt, and you have to make a transition. Now, I would definitely prefer the trade to get Deshaun Jackson, because he actually replaces Will Fuller, because he replaced him as that deep threat. And I told one of my coworkers, if we trade and get Deshaun Jackson, that's very telling. It's telling me that they want to have this big play. They need to have this big play offense, and without this big play offense, without this big plays pushed into the offense, they see issues with it. That's what it was telling me, if they would go out and get a trade like Deshaun Jackson. I knew Deshaun Jackson was not going to come here because Robert Vanessa is the owner, and you know how he feels about people with character concerns. Not true character issues, character concerns. Because remember, that's the reason why Deshaun Jackson got traded away from Philly, because he supposedly had ties to gangs affiliation. Not him himself being a gang member, but him having ties, which means he had either friends or family members that were associated with gangs. Newsflash, pretty much almost everybody does, especially if they're coming from a California area. I have a relatives in California. I know a lot of them. A lot of them get down with the get down. I'm going to just leave it at that. A lot of them get down with the get down. So, that doesn't mean anything to anything else. So just to say he has tides, this is a super reason to trade him away, especially when he's a productive player. So I knew because of that, Bob McNair wouldn't allow Deshaun Jackson to get traded here. We only given up a fourth-round pick to bring in Demaryius Thomas. That's great. I was looking at his stats a few minutes ago. He still is a very productive player. He's a 5-time Pro Bowl, 2-time All-Pro. His play dipped once Peyton Manning left, like from 2015 on, his play dipped. But you got to think about 2015, he's playing with Brock Osweiler and the shell of himself, Peyton Manning. Then after that, he's dealing with Trevor Siemian, Brock Osweiler, Paxton Lynch, and now Case Keenum. So of course, his play is going to dip. He's not Hopkins. Hopkins is the only receiver I know that's full-fledged quarterback proof. No matter who's throwing him the ball, outside Brock Osweiler apparently, no matter who's throwing him the football, he's going to produce. And you can't expect that from every receiver. So in those situations, I mean, like he's at 1,600 yards. He's had multiple 1,400-yard seasons. I know a lot of that, majority of that came after 2012. He came in 2010. But most of that came out of 2012 when Peyton Manning came in and was lighting up the league. I know in 2013, Peyton Manning was the MVP. So he was part of that situation. But he is a very productive guy. And that move tells me that we need to make sure that Deshaun Watson has another threat, has another option passing. That we can't just put everything on Hop. We need Hop to stay freed up and get these one-on-one coverages. And also, we like Kiki, but we need Kiki to stay in the slot. We don't need Kiki to be the other outside. And to be honest, we can't really completely depend on Kiki. One, because of hamstring injury, because he missed Thursday night. I think that was more so of it being a short week. I think maybe if that game was on on Sunday, Kiki might have played. But I think it was more so if it being a short week. Remember, I think he left Jacksonville game early. So more so, once he left that game early, I knew that he wasn't going to play Thursday because of the short week. I'm saying possibly if he would have been playing, if that game was at Sunday, there's a chance he probably could have played. Also, you don't want to depend on him because even though he's a rookie, he's a 4th-round rookie. He's not a 1st-round rookie. He wasn't drafted in the 1st round like Odell Beckham, like a Hopkins that you could depend on Julio Jones, like you could depend on their rookie year. It's a guy who's a 4th round for a reason, and you don't want to put that much pressure on him to being the full-fledged starter for the remaining of the season. Now, if something happened during the game, he has to be the starter for the rest of that game. Cool. To be a starter for the remaining 8 games and then leading into the postseason, and you depending on this guy, and he wasn't, like I say, he wasn't cited as a 1st round. Like Will Fuller, we depend on Will Fuller his rookie year, but he was a 1st round pick. Those are completely apples to oranges. So that's what this move tells me, that we need another guy who was solid. I know Demaryius has drop issues, but he is still a guy who's a veteran guy. Like he's been a captain for Denver. I know, if you listen to Von Miller and Emmanuel Sanders and a lot of Denver Broncos players, they seem genuinely sad, and not the old just this it's a business. Cause I know that happens all the time. Anytime somebody gets traded or gets cut or whatever, it's a business. The way the business, blase. This seems a little bit more. This seems a little bit more heartbroken, especially when you have people like Emmanuel Sanders say he hopes that he brings them a Super Bowl in Houston. Like they really respect Demaryius Thomas, which is a good thing. And there's some players, there's 2 different type of leaders, and then you got people who are leaders because the position they play, like quarterbacks, or because they're so talented, they're so high of a star. Teams just want to make them the captain, so they put them as a quote-unquote leader to be the forefront, but they're really not leadership guys. And then you got guys, no matter what room they walk in, they have a leader's mentality, like Honey Badger. They said that that's very rare for a guy to be a picked-up free agent and already become a leader, and that's what Honey Badger is. I mean, you can listen to him in his voice. You like all the pregame speeches come from Honey Badger. All the postgame speeches come from Honey Badger. You know that Honey Badger is that veteran leadership. He is the captain of the defense, similar to Brian Cushing. I know everybody want to talk about Brian Cushing and steroids, but even when JJ winning 3-time Defensive Player of the Week, Defensive Player of the Years, the leader of that defense was Brian Cushing. Brian Cushing was the heart of that defense. Same thing with Honey Badger. Same thing with Deshaun with his offense. He's that type of leader type guy. And that's what Demaryius is. I think Demaryius is that type of leadership type guy. I think that he's that no matter where he's going, he leads by example, and he's a he leads. He's one of those guys who's soft spoken, quiet, good guy. So he leads by example, and he's also a guy who people turn to and be like, lead me out this foxhole. So when you got all these type of leaders and things like that, especially bringing a guy with veteran leadership, because remember, Hop was the oldest guy in his receiver room. And that's another thing, like he's coming to a situation where he is the old guy. I mean, Demaryius is 30. I mean, you got Deshaun, who the quarterback, who's your quarterback is 32. I mean, 23. Will Fuller, even though he's hurt, he's 24. Kiki, I'm thinking he's 22. Hop is 27 or 26, something like that. Hop is pretty young himself. So, like he's definitely walking into a situation where he's the oldest guy. And I mean, like, you know, you can tell by the way Hop and Fuller and them all interact with each other with Deshaun. They're like that, that whole youthness. Is that gonna be able to mess with Demaryius Thomas? That's to be seen, because, you know, he is 30. He has a different way of thinking. One, he's been in the NFL. He's seen Super Bowl championships. He's seen Super Bowl losses when they lost to Seattle. He's seen AFC championship losses. He's seen a lot of things that a lot of these guys on this team hasn't seen, especially guys on offense. And then also from a personal standpoint, he's an older guy that you're going to depend on. He's not like just an older guy that you just got on your roster, just be having on your roster. Like, he's an older guy. Like I said, like, I mean, I don't know, if you're 30 and you go talk to a 22-year-old, if you're 22, you go talk to a 30-year-old, y'all gonna have completely different tastes in music, and just like, all right, everything is gonna be like two different worlds when you have that big age difference. So those are things that are gonna be things to look at. I do think that they'll mesh well, because I think Deshaun's that type of quarterback, and I think it'll be really good. And the beauty of it, like it seems like it might be a 1-year rental, but if he can produce and end up having 1,000 yards for the season, do you bring him back? Absolutely. I think his cap hit next year, well, his contract next year, he has I think 14, but it's not guaranteed. So you're able to restructure it if you want to. And I'm pretty sure if you restructure it and add more years to it, I mean, you restructure it and space it out between another couple years, I'm pretty sure he might be cool with that, because it gives him more longevity, and especially if you give him guaranteed money, more money up front. Players always take that because it's the money up front, and I think when you do guaranteed money, it doesn't count towards your cap hit, so it helps you as an organization as your cap, and also helps the player because they're getting this money up front. Everybody always cool with getting money up front. So, and then that means you will have, coming into next season, a Deshaun as your quarterback. You bringing in Hopkins, who I feel is the best receiver in the league. You bringing in Will Fuller. Now, another reason why you might want to bring him in, because Will Fuller will be coming off an ACL injury, so you want to make sure that you have that safety net in Demaryius Thomas as well. But you have Will Fuller, who is a perfect complement to Hopkins. You have Kiki in the slot, who's becoming his second year, so back to knowing the NFL. And then you bring in this guy with veteran leadership. So that's a good receiving core, especially now that you don't have to play with a fullback. So you can come out in a lot of 4 receiver sets. You have 2, 3 tight ends. So it's a lot of things that you can do in the future-wise when Fuller comes back, if this all works out. And when you see teams like the Cowboys, I ran to a Cowboy fan. I was telling him about the trade, because he didn't know about the Demaryius Thomas trade. He's like, man, that's the play I would have made. Like, he was genuinely mad that they spent the first-round pick on Amari Cooper. And he's like, that's the play I would have made. I would have made that play for Demaryius Thomas over Amari Cooper, because it cost me a first-round pick. I would still have my first-round pick. Y'all got him away for a 4th? And I thought about it. I'm like, you know what? You're right. I mean, obviously, we're trading that first-round pick. You're telling your team that he's the guy, so you're going to definitely give him a contract. He's going to be your full-fledged guy. But I would much rather, even though the age difference, I mean, Amari Cooper's 24, Demaryius is 30. I'll take Demaryius for a year and use my first-round pick and draft a brand-new receiver, because, like I said about Amari Cooper, there's plenty of times Amari Cooper he's had 200-yard games. And after a 200-yard game, he'll have a stretch of 4-5 games where he's only getting 50 yards at the most. I think what he has out of the season, I think he missed 8 games this year, and out of those 8 games, like 6 of them, he has less than 2 catches, 2 or less catches in 6 games. Come on, That's not production. That's not first round pick worthy. And because the Cowboys were so desperate for a receiver and they gave up a first round pick, they fucked up the market. And I think that's the reason why the Texans couldn't get a corner, because when teams see Amari Cooper go for a first, teams like Arizona, like, man, we got Patrick Peterson? Oh, Patrick Peterson definitely going away for a first and a second. If he went for Amari Cooper with his level of production or lack thereof this season and the years prior, we could get a first round and a second round. And teams weren't willing to offer that because, you know why? Because Patrick Peterson is 28 years old. You don't want to pay a first and a second round pick for a 28-year-old. I know Wichita went for 2 twos, but Khalil Mack, 1 is a defensive player of the year, and 2 is what, 24, 25 maybe? So Khalil Mack is pretty young himself. He's not 28. So he at least has 3 to 4 years younger than Patrick Peterson. So you don't make so Dallas fucked up the market, and I think that's the reason why the Texans couldn't make a play for that type of corner. Now, I'm pretty sure the other course, like, I know Janoris Jenkins was out there. I don't know what happened with that. Why they didn't try to go after Janoris Jenkins or anything like that. But I think that messed up the market going forward. And I think that that's the reason why some players did not get moved that you thought was going to get moved, like Le'Veon Bells, like who's another player who started to get moved besides Patrick Peterson and Le'Veon? LaShawn McCoy. I think some of these guys didn't get moved because I think teams started asking for other prices because they seen what Amari Cooper went for, and they were expecting those same type of situations. Oh yeah, Deshaun Jackson. Like they was expecting those same type of situations or close to, and they didn't get those type of situations because of the Khalil Mack trade and the Amari Cooper trade. So Oakland, in receiving all these first round picks, catching teams while they desperate, fucked up the market for other teams who were not really desperate, but were willing to play ball, not play ball no more because of the lack of production. I mean, because of the lack of assets, because the market was so blown up that people didn't want to go by that. And speaking of going by stuff in markets, answer this, please, somebody. How can a quarterback throw for 5 touchdowns, only have 4 incompletions, have more touchdowns than incompletions, a perfect QBR, a perfect passer rating, and not get AFC Player of the Week? Why didn't Deshaun get AFC? I don't understand why Deshaun did not get AFC Player of the Week. I've been trying to figure this out all day long. He threw for 5 touchdowns, 4 incompletions. So he had more touchdowns than incompletions. Perfect quarterback rating. But did not win AFC Player of the Week. I know people were commenting on the Instagram post, he didn't have 300 yards, he only had 200 yards. It don't matter. They won. He had 5 touchdowns, 4 incompletions. Perfect quarterback rating. Why he ain't AFC Player of the Week? I don't know. But anyway, I think this trade is going to be good. And I think that we should be able to do some things for the rest of the year. Like, share, subscribe if you haven't. Comment below if you haven't. Click that bell, get more videos. I holla.